Welcome to Secrets from a Billionaire's Matchmaker with matchmaker Gina Hendrix.
Hey, I'm Gina Hendrix. I'm here to sort out your love life. Welcome to Secrets from a Billionaire's Matchmaker, where we do a lot of things around here. I cover a lot of your questions, and once in a while, I welcome a special guest, like in this episode today. Today, I am interviewing somebody that I find so interesting. You'll find her story so interesting. Her name is Natasha. And I mean, ladies, if you want to know how to have a man wrapped around your finger, crawl across the desert on his stomach, and do back bends to be with you, then you don't want to miss this episode. And then I'm going to do more Q&A. So we're going to open with a few questions and we're going to close with a few questions, and always protecting everybody's privacy. And if you ever want to join a live, you can always email me at teamgina@ginahendrix.com or send in your questions and I might answer them on the air. Same email, teamgina@ginahendrix.com. Okay, buckle up, baby. Let's do this.
What about that in-between time between the first kiss and when you actually have sex?
Yeah. What's the actual question though?
Well, the question is about what's the timing on that? Is it after a couple of dates and,
I mean, here's how I feel about it. There are some women, that, I mean, listen, the standard advice I say, just even on the first date, just kind of go and see if you even like them
Oh, absolutely.
as a friend. Right. But I'm saying this
Yeah.
for the other women who say, I like to make out on a first date. Well, the thing is, I think that the sooner we move to intimacy, the sooner we put like our rose-colored glasses on. And
I
we're not
agree.
really seeing this person for who they are, because now we've got these other set of emotions that have kicked in, and now we may be a little more forgiving or ignore some potential red flags. So I do think it's important to go on, 1, 2 dates before you get kind of to that next phase. But then I have no problem with kissing, and if you feel like you want to make out with them, but just also make sure that one, because a lot of women will do this, they will move things along to more of a sexual nature because they feel like they need to get the guy more invested, and that's when women start to get their feelings hurt. So I just say, go at a pace where, regardless of the outcome on his end, you won't feel like, you're mad at yourself for doing that, or you get your feelings hurt. Do you know what I
Got
mean?
it. Yeah, I do know what you
Yeah.
mean. Yeah.
And don't let it cloud your judgment in any way.
Yeah, because my experience has been exactly what you said. If if the physical stuff starts too early, regardless of what kind of physical stuff it is,
Yeah,
other than kissing, yeah, it does. It just mixes everything up.
it does. It mixes everything up, and no matter how old we are, it really does,
Yeah, it's real
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also I think there are those guys that do want to move it along to that as well, because then once you get there and it becomes more sexual, more comfortable, then they don't have to necessarily continue to court you with those dates like they do beforehand. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So then it becomes a thing, oh, just come over to the house, we'll cook dinner, or we'll hang out, or we'll watch TV, and skipped this whole beginning courting phase. And a lot of guys do that on purpose. They don't want to spend the money, they don't want to invest the time. So men will wait. They will wait if they feel like it's worth it. They will invest. They will make the effort if they're truly excited and interested. Let me just introduce my guest. We're all about being in your feminine energy tonight, ladies. And this is a woman she's got an amazing story she's going to share with you. She's going to share it with all of us. So her husband passed away, and she was a single mom with 4 young kids. And she and I think, first connected on TikTok. She now runs a multi-income stream online business specializing in beauty and wellness. But now since she found her guy, she's now determined to help other women do that too and be their best selves. So she helps high achieving women heal their receiving blocks with men and money Who doesn't like that, ladies? She shows women how to regulate their nervous system, feminine energy, and hormones. So I really want to focus on feminine energy. It's because I don't talk about it enough, and it's so important. So let's welcome Natasha to join me here.
Hello.
How are you? Do you want to tell everybody a little backstory about
Yeah.
you?
Well, I'm first of all so thankful to be here and so thankful for Gina, and she's just amazing, as you ladies know. And so my big thing was, so a few years ago, I lost my husband to colon cancer. And so I was young, was 33. He actually was an engineer, great husbands, FYI,
Oh, good.
engineer.
Good.
They're very reliable. You want reliable, right?
Okay, great, great.
That side note there. But it was devastating, as you can imagine. I had 4 kids and we were, at the peak of our business career. Life was amazing. And he ended up passing away. He was only 37, from colon cancer.
How long had you guys been married?
We met when I was 18. So we were together for almost 15 years. We were married. We were just about to have our 10th wedding anniversary.
And how old were your children at the time when he
So
passed?
my youngest daughter, like once he passed away, my youngest daughter was 3. And so I had a 3-year-old, a 4-year-old, a 6, and an 8-year-old.
Wow.
So they were all under 8.
Wow. Yes.
Yeah. It was super traumatic. It was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. But the beautiful thing is, I mean, this is why I help women out. You got hope, ladies. There's light at the end of the tunnel.
Because when you
So,
and I first met, you were really into the health and wellness space, which you are
yes.
still, and working
Yes.
out and fitness and eating healthy and
Yes.
all that. But you've kind of now,
Yes, evolved.
yeah,
So what I started doing was just like my own inner healing journey, right? So getting my body back into a healthy place. I was a mess physically, mentally, emotionally, as you can imagine. I was an RN before I became a business owner. And so just was really working on myself. And then, the global pandemic was happening. So I'm like, let me just go online and start sharing my story. And, told women, oh, by the way, I've had 4 kids. And, it was just like instant like virality. Everyone wanted to know the secrets and the hormone stuff. And so I was helping all these ladies. And then, 4 years had passed. And I was like, I'm getting way too comfortable being single.
fair enough. It happens. I say, the longer you are in the cave, the
Yes,
further into the cave you go, and the further the time goes on,
literally.
further into the cave, unless you're very conscious and aware of not going far into the cave.
Exactly. I didn't realize I had a lot of self-sabotaging behaviors and thought patterns, and it's very subconscious. And so that's, when you start attracting the wrong guys, or you keep avoiding dating, or like we do a bunch of weird stuff as women, right? Anyway, successful business-wise, but in the relationship side, it was dry on purpose. And so once I decided, okay, I'm like, no, Natasha, like it's been 4 years, you need to actually date for marriage. But the big block I had, and this is where Gina came into the picture, was I'm like, I do so much content online that I'm like, I feel very exposed. I don't want someone that's, seeing me online, all of a sudden see me on a dating app. And I also wanted to date in a different country. I didn't want to date in the country I was in because I was actually planning on moving.
Wait,
So
country, you were in Canada.
I was in Canada at the time, but I was planning on moving to the US.
Right.
And so I didn't want to date anyone in Canada because I knew I was going to be moving.
Yeah. There's a lot of ladies looking for love in Canada.
Yeah, yeah. Which, I totally recommend women just open up internationally because two of my girls that I've coached as well, they're now married and they married guys from the UK. So anyway, I contacted Gina and I was like, I just really have one big question. It's like, how do I go online and be incognito? And I
Right.
remember
I talked to you
that was
about
like my main question. That was the reason why I wasn't going online. And so she's like, well, first of all, she's like, use Bumble. I was like, oh my gosh, really? This is what my life has come to? I'm like, okay, I'm gonna shut up and trust Gina. So I'm like, okay, Gina, I'm doing exactly what you tell me to do. So she told me, yeah, go on Bumble and change your location to whatever you want. So I changed my location to where I was moving to, which was Las Vegas. And I just happened to meet my now husband, and it just happened to be during the right time when I was changing my location.
Wow.
And he was everything I asked for, plus more. And I just want to say that I wanted a man that didn't drink alcohol, no drugs. I wanted like a man of God. We stayed celibate until marriage.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah, stayed celibate till marriage.
Met him on Bumble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First day.
Wow. 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 That's
Yeah.
unbelievable and awesome at the same time.
Yeah. And but even though I met him on the first day, I still forced myself out of my comfort zone, talked to other guys. I did something called rotationally dating, which is what I teach my girls now too, where you're talking to more than one guy at once, kind of puts a fire
You
under
should
their
be
butts
talking
to see who's
first.
serious and who's not.
Hard though. A lot of women don't want to do that. A lot of women sign up for my program and then I elevate their profile and their everything, the Gina Signature profile stuff. And then they meet a guy and then they don't even do the rest of the program. And I'm like, hey,
Yeah, nope.
paid for this. You need to use it because
Yeah,
you shouldn't really put all your eggs in one basket so
100%.
soon. And I understand we get busy. So when somebody gets busy, how do they maintain rotational dating?
Yeah, well, I mean, you guys, I'm like the poster child for this. I was a single mom with 4 kids and doing social media and running businesses, right?
Right.
So I mean, there's different ways you can do it. You don't want to overwhelm yourself, right? Like you can just be talking to just a couple of guys. Like I would force myself to, like, for example, some guy wanted to go for a coffee or just a dinner, even though he wasn't really the type of guy I wanted to date. I was interested in Brian, who's not my husband. I understand the whole feminine masculine energy dynamics, and I understand, just like what you teach, Gina, if they can sense if you're like always thinking about them.
Yeah, needy.
We were engaged in 8 months.
Let's back this story up.
So when we first met on Bumble, he was living in Vegas.
Dirty and living. Okay. So then you meshed, you started talking, you told him you were in Canada.
Yeah.
And how long did you guys talk? And then what was the next phase? Did you do FaceTime, Zoom? What'd you do?
Yes. Okay, great questions. Okay. So what I did, first of all, I only had the verified profile. I needed that for just safety for myself. I did, right away he wanted my number and I'm like, I don't give my number out to strangers,
Yeah.
but I'm like, we can do a video call on the app.
Yeah.
So we did a video call on the app. It was like instant connection, but I still made time to talk to other guys also, even though I was like, oh my God, this guy's amazing. I still talked to the other guys on the app, forced myself to do it. But once, I think after a couple of days, totally like compatible on every level, spiritually, just values, character, lifestyle, all that stuff, and life vision. So I did give him my number, and then it was FaceTime calls every single day after that. He always called, texted. He was a great communicator.
Doing now, you guys are on the regular phone and you're doing FaceTime every day. How long
Yeah.
did that go on? And then who made the plan and how did the next steps work?
Okay, great questions. So I had already plans to fly to Vegas with my mom to go check out a school for my kids that summer. So this was actually a couple years ago. So there's a bit of story here.
Has it
So,
been a couple years since we met? God, time flies, huh?
right?
Wow.
So we had met, it was like end of July, I think. And then I had already plans to come to Vegas. I had a couple dates lined up. So I had another guy that wanted to meet up as well. And so I'm like, okay, when I'm there, we can go for dinner.
Mm.
So my mom and I came to Vegas. He met up with us, took us around, and it was just like such a great connection. It was kind of interesting because he met my mom like the same time he met me, but I'm like, okay, this is gonna go one or two ways, right?
Did you bring the kids with you or no? They were in
No,
Canada.
no, it was just me. Yeah, it was just me. And we had such an amazing time. And it was interesting. And this is why it's so important for ladies to do inner healing because, I went back to Canada. He was still in Vegas. And I could tell I was being bombarded with guys that wanted to date and like be serious and all this stuff. And this is why it's like feminine energy is like your superpower, ladies, that most women don't tap into.
I never tap into
But
it.
anyway,
You know.
no, it's okay. It's okay. You still need strategy. You still need strategy, right? That's
Yeah.
yeah. So we stopped talking for a few months. I took a break from the dating app because I was actually really overwhelmed, and I had triggers, and like I had to work through like going through like the thought of losing someone, like all that nonsense, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. And like that's why dating is so great, because it's going to bring up your crap and deal with it and like release it. Don't suppress it, don't numb it, right? Like just the faster you deal with the crap that comes up, the triggers, and release it, the faster you're going to attract the right guy to you.
But saying that, there's also these women who get themselves into trouble but of course they could probably get themselves into trouble at a dinner too. But I've had the scenarios where,
Yeah.
where the woman was like, the guy wanted to meet her in a park, and then it was just she sort of didn't know where to raise her standards at that point. So then all the dates were like at that level. Another
Yeah,
one
no.
in my program, the man wanted to just meet her in a parking lot. She met him in a parking lot and then got in the car with him. And then he was like, let's go have sex. And she did. But I don't want women to do that either. You see, so I'm
No,
very
okay.
careful
So
with the
these are
advice.
all signs that you need some inner healing, babe. So
Right.
if you're attracting guys like this, then that is everyone around you only reflects you, your energy. That's it, which is a great thing, because as you heal this crap, you're going to start attracting higher quality men. And you know what? If he's like still continuing with, okay, now let's just go for coffee dates, you're just moving on to the next thing.
Right. I do love the intentional rotation. I had a woman today, because when I'm telling the ladies how to pre-qualify, when they get on a call with a guy, at the end of the call, if it's gone well, the guy should be asking you out. And if a guy is getting off the call with you and he's like, okay, well, I'll call you again sometime, you say this and tell me how you would handle it. But this is what I told her to say. I said, for you to say, well, actually, I'm very intentional with my dating. So why don't you reach out to me when you actually want to make a plan to meet? And boom, that's the line in the sand.
100%.
You agree with that?
100%, Gina. I'm 1000% agree.
I may have to bring you back another time, Natasha, because you're so good
Totally.
at it.
And I would love to come back anytime you guys want to. I
Sure.
can talk about this all
Buddy,
day, especially the connection.
so thank you so much for being
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you. All right, we'll talk to you soon. Okay, now let's move on to some more questions. You ladies have so many burning questions for me, and I love it. Let's do it.
Okay, let's talk a little bit more about the dating apps and pre-qualifying, because pre-qualifying is so important. This is a great question.
Is the phone call a vibe check? Possible ideas of what would be good to talk about on the phone. I mean, on the phone, you want to talk about whatever's important to you, or whatever is still unclear about him from, so you know what you know in this profile, and then hopefully you've asked a few more questions in the messaging phase on the app, right? But then by the time you get to the phone call before the first date, there has to be a window of stuff you're still wondering about. I know there are things you're wondering about. So therefore, on that call, this is where you further pre-qualify, because it's all about knowing how to pre-qualify at the different phases and stages, right? You pre-qualify in the initial chatting phase on the app. Then you pre-qualify on the call, and then you even pre-qualify on the first date. So you just want to pre-qualify further to know, is this a guy I actually want to go out with? Is he on the same page with being intentional about what his relationship goals are? Is he intentional about, his career path and his, and just anything that's important to you that you're still unsure about after meeting him on the app is what you want to clarify on the call before you decide ever to go on date one with him.
So we talk a lot about Bumble and not as much about Hinge. Do you recommend using only one at a time?
No, I just kind of, just me. I'm just a creature of habit. I think, I've had women have better luck on Hinge than Bumble. I've had women have better luck on Bumble than Hinge. I honestly don't think one is necessarily better than the other. I think it's just random luck at that point. But no, you can use both. Absolutely. I'm just a creature of habit, and I like the flow of Bumble. I feel like it's just a little more straightforward. You swipe, you wait, see if they extend or if they now chat with your opening move thing. Whereas Hinge, I think a lot of women get a little more confused on Hinge. They go around and start liking men,
or they go around and they start commenting and they get confused about the setup, where I feel like it's just a little bit more clear and straightforward on Bumble. But no, you can absolutely use both. It's fine.
And both simultaneously, or
Yeah, I
is
mean, you
it
just have
good to do
to,
one
you
at a
just,
time?
I don't listen. I find a lot of the women when they're here with me will be using them simultaneously. I don't think it makes a difference one way or the other.
Got it. Okay,
I
cool.
don't. It just, some women get overwhelmed. Some women, you know, some women get very overwhelmed. I mean, I also say that, I think the best strategy is to just go on once a day on the dating apps and not get too caught up in the gamification and the rat wheel, because that's how you tend to get exhausted. But if you just go on, like, pick a time, like in the mornings or whenever, and you go through and you run through on Hinge, you're only looking down at the bottom where that little heart thing is to see if any guy has actually made a comment. That's what we're looking for on Hinge. They have to actually, not a like, not a anything, they have to make a comment. And you just glance at Hinge. Is any guys making comments on me? No, yes, okay. And then you do the same thing on Bumble. You just do a swiping, and then you see if any have made a thoughtful reply, opening move, or extended the time. And then you forget about it until the next day. That's my recommendation, because otherwise I feel like a lot of both men and women use the dating apps to kind of kill time, like they'd be scrolling through TikTok or Instagram looking at videos. And I think when you do that, you get a bit anesthetized to people. So you start feeling like, oh, everybody's disgusting. Like as if the dating app is there to entertain you like other social media things. And it's not, the dating apps is not there for your entertainment. So do not use it as your entertainment. Do not do it when you're bored. Go on, be intentional, get off, wait, and come back the next day.
So thank you for that. And so
Sure.
then on that note, on Hinge, because it isn't a blind swiping situation, is the recommendation to like not do any kind of liking or unliking, or can you
I
like
mean,
X people out but not like them?
well, so on Hinge, this is where they get tricky about the upsell. So when you go in at the bottom, along the bottom of Hinge, right? And you see the little icons and you go into the heart area, okay? Now they're going to be showing you, you might get a message that says, "Hey, you've got nothing, nobody's liking you," or yeah, whatever their verbiage is, right? You got no action happening, okay? So then you'll want to go to the H, where you're just randomly seeing people, and that's where you can initiate, right? And I call it sometimes tapping on the shoulders. So if you've gone into the heart area and repeatedly you have no action happening, no action at all for like a long time, then I say, or you've dropped your pin into a new location. Because if you've dropped your pin into a new location, then obviously you're not going to have any traction there yet, because you haven't shown up on the radar yet. So then if you want to just gently get the ball rolling, then it's fine. Go through, look at the guys, but just give them the tap on the shoulder, which means just like them and send the like. Don't do the upsell where it says, "Do you want to send a rose?" No, for God's sakes, don't do that. Just send a little like, just send a little like, just send a little like. And now I look at it like you're just tapping them on the shoulder, letting them know you're there. And then from there, they can either come in with effort or not. And then our regular, like, looking for effort is in play. Now, where Hinge gets tricky, okay? So if you go into the heart area, and it does show that you've got some action happening, okay? They'll show you one guy's photo very clearly, and then a bunch of guys below it that are blurred out, okay?
Mhm.
And if you want to skip ahead and click on the blurred, that's where they go, "Oh, you've got to pay, blah, 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 blah." But you do not have to pay as long as you make a decision, yes or no, to the first guy that you can see clearly. So you have to look at him, make a decision, yes or no, and then the next one will become unblurred. And then you have to make a decision, and the next one becomes unblurred. Okay. So that's how Hinge gets a little tricky. You don't have to pay. You just have to make a clear decision on whether you like this guy, yes or no, before they reveal the next one to you.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for asking the question and unlocking the secrets from the vault, as I like to say.
Hey, Gina,
Hey.
kind of like going where we was going, right? So you're swiping, right? I mean, I know that I'm not all the way there yet with you, but just kind of going through it, right? To see who's liked you and just to view kind of like how much effort a guy is putting in on their own profile, right? Like,
Right.
is there a magic like I don't know, way to sort of go through and say, okay, I know when I level up, right? And I'm on that app and the pictures are looking great, right? So there's got to be a standard, I think,
For
sort of
sure.
yourself on what are you looking for, right? So if a guy, I mean, like just swiping through, a lot of these guys are taking pictures of themselves in their cars or whatever, and it's just they didn't put any time or effort into it, right? So
I know.
how do you how do you say, okay, I'm interested because, right? Is it the attraction out of the gate? Is it that you're reading through sort of their bio piece and you say, okay, that's kind of interesting? Or like, when do you know?
Right. I think this is an excellent question. Thank you. I think that the way I usually do it and teach women is, you know, because here's what I know for a fact. I know that there are like so many women that also have low level photos and they make a lot of the same mistakes the guys do. But you ladies, lucky you have me. These guys don't have, obviously, they're not taking the steps to find somebody to help them raise their profile. So on first glance at a initial profile photo, I don't, again, because I think I do it systematically. So I'm not going on and off the app all day looking. And then I take time to be like, make an appointment to do this in the mornings. And then I'm focused. So I'm actually sitting there looking at each and every guy. I'm not glancing and go, oh, I mean, now there are some that are really like an obvious, super obvious horror show that you just must go, oh, get him off my screen as fast as possible. But then there are those other guys that aren't taking great photos, but I look at, does he have his job listed right there? So his name, his age, his education, job, whatever, as much as you can put in that initial upfront photo, I'm looking out of the gate mainly at all the details. So I want to see that. And if his photo is like, he doesn't look that good, I'm like, but he's filled this out. Let me just see if this gets better. And then I go down to the middle part and then I look at, his education and what he's looking for. And I see if all those things seem interesting to me. And then I go, okay, now this guy sounds good in what he's written in his details. Now let me see. Hopefully he looks somewhat attractive enough because I'm less interested in what somebody looks like because in terms of style and things like this, those things can be fixed. And for any woman that thinks that's not true, you're wrong because as a former fashion stylist, that's how they fix up celebrities. Celebrities look as great as they do because they've got people helping them. And I've known women who've gotten together with men. In fact, my friend's example, who she met that close to billionaire guy on Bumble in LA. He's like a Harrison Ford older guy, but like his style was looked a little older. I mean, you could tell his clothes were expensive. I also look to see how they dress. So if a guy's wearing low level t-shirts and all his photos to me, I got to see some glimmer of hope. Until he had money by his style, but it wasn't like, hi, I'm a cool, relevant older guy. It was like, I'm an older guy with money. And now he's like the cool, relevant guy. She showed me his picture. She took him shopping. She fixed him up. So it's an easy fix. So I focus on the details. I also look, for a man who's like collared shirts. I like somebody who looks like, because you can tell if shirts are custom made. You can tell if the suit fits well or shirts fit well. One woman, this guy, and I was like, he didn't have an occupation. Every photo looked so low level. I mean, and then come to find out when you look closer, he said he was just looking for a casual thing. Like those are guys you should never even be swiping on. And I do want to be clear because in my book, and I do need to update some things in my book, but my book, The Great Manhunt, when I talk about swiping like a guy, by that I meant two things. And I think some things weren't clear enough. And that's one of the things I'd love to redo in the book. I think that when I say swipe like a guy, I mean two things by it. I think that when you initially do your photos, I say swipe like a guy, meaning just swipe on the hodgepodge of them. Don't really look, don't really pre-qualify. Why? Because I want to see what men, without you micromanaging it, what sampling of these men that you have swiped on that have matched with are coming in with effort. And if you tell me, oh my God, Gina, either nobody's coming in with effort or the most disgusting men are coming in with effort and none of the guys I want to meet are coming in with any kind of effort, that tells me we got to keep working on the photos. That tells me, I mean, there's some of you who live in areas where it's going to be fewer and far between. And again, in general, exceptional people, even in the world, are few and far between. So you really do have to manage your expectations. But if a woman says to me, I swiped like a guy, I matched with a lot of guys, and none of them that I like are coming in hot for me, but yet you matched with a lot of guys, but those guys were not cute or not high level, but you're matching, and you're matching even with guys you were interested in. That means we got to level up your photos. If you're not matching with anybody, then maybe we need to even start searching for men outside your area. So that's what I mean initially when I say swipe like a guy, just so we get a large sampling of men and we see who's who's resonating with your profile. And again, if it's not what you want, then we got to level it up or continue to revisit leveling it up. The other side of the coin is, I think when men are swiping in the beginning, they're not getting really attached. They're just swiping, matching. And I want you ladies to remain a little more detached until it actually becomes something. Because in the early days of matching, even the early days of talking, hell, in the early days of dating, it really means nothing. I mean, you know, the first couple of dates is starting to get real. That's when it's starting to get real. But when you match with them and then they don't get back to you right away, that's fine. Let them sit there, because life, you don't know what they have going on in their lives. You know, people get busy. And so I just think women get too invested when you match with a guy. You're just thinking about it. Oh, he hasn't gotten back to me, I'm going to unmatch. Or, you know, you're holding him to a standard when you guys need to just take it a little bit more at that point, at that part, with a grain of salt. So there you go. That's the long-winded answer of that. But I'm glad you opened that Pandora's box so I could answer all that.
Thank you.
Hey, what you got on your mind today?
I actually have two questions, if you don't mind. First
I
one,
don't mind.
okay. How long does it usually take someone to find a good relationship or a long-term relationship or husband, preferably online? I'm new to online dating. This is not a great experience so far, and I'm wondering if there's like, an end to this at some point, because I
Right.
hate it, to be honest. But I just wanted to know, what is the normal or typical number of months or years or whatever, how long this is really supposed to take. And then number two is, how long should you wait for someone to respond to you or send you a message online before you just unmatch? Because to be honest, I've only been waiting 2 days, because I just feel like if after 2 days you don't like, if you're not paying attention to me, then chances are you're paying attention to someone else. So if that's too short, let me know. But I just don't really have a lot of time to wait on people. So that's
I'm glad you're bringing up all of this stuff. And you're one of my favorite people. I really, really like you. And so I'm glad you're here, first of all. So in terms of, well, first I'm going to go last question first and then first question last. Okay. So in terms of how long should you wait when you match? Yes, I say, listen, if you go into my Bumble, I have them still there from 2017. Okay. So, and I know that's a lot, but I just don't see, and again, they're not in there because I think, oh, they're going to come back. I just don't. Here's the thing. And this is what I want you guys to take away. I don't get attached. I don't even pay attention. Honestly, I don't even pay attention. And that's what I want you guys to stay a little more detached in the beginning, because when you get too invested, I know and I am saying this from being a matchmaker and working with people. And believe me, trying to coordinate people's schedules for dates and trying to even coordinate schedules to like just meet with me on the phone so I can pre-qualify things like this sometimes takes weeks, because people have lives. But see, most of us aren't willing to see the world through other people's eyes. We're seeing it from our limited perspective. I fortunately have had the benefit of seeing all of this stuff from many perspectives. I've seen it from where my guys are all kinds of scenarios. This is what I talk about on TikTok and all my videos, right? It's from the real world. So I've had scenarios where my guy was super excited to go out with this girl that I was setting him up with. And I know for a fact, because I'm behind the scenes, I know for a fact he was like, because she was adorable in every way. He was excited. He made the plans. He made the reservation, but he got busy. And guys nobody's perfect. You're not perfect. Nobody's perfect. So he didn't circle back to her. And it was like the day before the date. And in his mind, it was done. In his mind, I don't know when he was going to let her know. Do I think that's okay? Not really. But it didn't mean he wasn't excited. It didn't mean he didn't have a plan. He had all of it. She was furious, so furious. I had to talk her off the ledge. and explained to her, and then they went out and then it was all good. And then I've had those guys that, so who just get busy. Like I have this one guy and he's phenomenal. And I know he really wants to meet somebody. This girl's like, oh, he must be seeing somebody else, Gina, because he hasn't gotten back to me. I said, no, I know him very well. I can tell you he is not, but he has a son and he has, 3 sports teams and he has, and so people get busy. You never know what's going on in people's lives. So let them sit there and you just keep moving forward and doing your own thing. Okay. I don't want you to get attached to these people so early on. They have to earn it anyway. Match with them, leave them there. Don't even worry about it. Because the truth is, people are also dating people. There's nothing wrong with that. They match with you. Here's another reality. Another reality is that somebody could match with you, think you're great, want to connect with you, but maybe that night they have a second date with somebody. Okay. Doesn't make them bad. That's normal dating. They go on the second date that night after they had connected with you and maybe even you guys started talking, but they go on the second date with that person and now they like that person more. It's their second date and they're like, oh, wow, I want to see where that goes. And so they want to date this person a little bit before they're going to come back and circle back to you. All of that is perfectly fine. They don't even know you yet. They've got a second date with somebody. So you got to just let things stay and let them cook a little while longer and give people a little more space and room. Okay. Now, in terms of how long does it take? The one thing we don't have control over is the timing of the universe, right? What we have control over is managing our expectations and staying the course. I will tell you in the case of Hush, for example, okay, I know I talk about it a lot, but she kind of fits a lot of these scenarios. So now she's seeing that guy, but she says, Gina, I went on probably 500 dates over the course of off and on over 4 or 5 years and until I found this guy. But again, she wasn't like getting exhausted by dating. She wasn't getting upset by dating. She just knew that it's the roller coaster and she would get on and off. She would date guys for a period of time. She met a ton of great guys, but she just knew that was part of the journey. And then now she's seeing this guy and it's been over a year. I think he's buying her house in Beverly Hills. He's in Beverly Hills. He has a house in Malibu and Hawaii and all these things. But she said, yeah, Gina, no, I probably went out with like 500 guys over the course of, and she said, and most of them were great. Not all of them. And there were disappointments, but I just stayed the course. That's just life. There is no way to predict how soon your person's going to show up. But what we can control is our expectations, our mindset, and just staying on track. You ladies are fantastic. And I really, really want you guys to pre-qualify these guys hard. So just because you match with them and you're excited about them, do not get excited until they, have really earned it. Don't even get invested. So, just manage your expectations because you're terrific and just know that people do get busy and you can't take things personally.
Thank you. I
Okay?
needed to
Sure.
hear that. Thank you.
Good. Okay. Talk to you later.
Don't forget to follow me on my socials, Instagram or TikTok, Matchmaker Gina Hendrix, or subscribe here so that you never miss an episode. And please share with your friends. Thanks for listening. We got another special episode for you next week.
Want to keep up with more of Gina's advice? Follow her on TikTok and Instagram at Matchmaker Gina Hendrix or visit her matchmaking website, ginahendrix.com.